it's JK Reviews again, doing another fan fiction review. This time I will be doing The Road to Recovery. There are so far 7 chapters of this one. It is another supernatural fanfic by Marrilyn. I have a link down below if you like what you hear. I will be giving away some spoilers, but I don't want to give too much away because to experience it for yourself for the first time is so much more impacting with this particular story. It is rated M. It deals with abuse, it deals with rape, it does deal with PTSD and what people have to go through when they have endured what the characters have endured, and it's really, really good. I'm gonna go through 3 chapters a week. So today I'm gonna review chapters 1 through 3. So it is about Rowena. She survived Lucifer's abuse, and she goes back to her girlfriend, who is a reader in this particular story, and she spends chapters 1 through 3 just healing and having her wounds tended to by her girlfriend, who is also a witch and is good friends with Sam and Dean. So I should first start off by saying there are 2 things, and Mariana knows this, 2 things that I had to get used to when I first read this particular story. One was it is a reader story, and I have a hard time with readers because, well, they don't relate to me. I have crushes, but when it comes to romance, and which is usually the dealings of readers, I don't relate. So when I'm reading it, I don't feel like that's me who is in the story. So I have to create a character. And it has come to a point that I have created this character for the reader, and Mariana and I have named her. And I've started to forget that it's a reader. Now I start to see this character as a real character from the show, and I actually have fallen in love with her. I have become attached to her. A few times she has annoyed me, and I will go into that, but that's just what makes her such a well-written character, because she gets on my nerves, she does something that makes me happy, she does something that makes me angry. She's real, and that's really awesome. Not a lot of readers do that. They kind of just annoy me, and I'm just like, eh. But this reader is amazing, and I think that a lot of the readers that Mariana does are just really, really well written. So, Rowena and the reader, spend time together. They get a phone call from Sam, and he calls to tell the reader that Rowena is dead. And the reaction that the reader has is really good, but it does also lead into my second thing that kind of irritated me at first, and again, Mariana knows this, is the way that the reader and Rowena treat Sam and Dean. And a lot of this is reflection on how Mariana herself felt about the whole situation. She doesn't necessarily blame Sam and Dean for this whole thing with Rowena getting killed, but she is kind of upset with them for the way that they treat Rowena. And yeah, to an extent, yes, they don't treat her very well. She doesn't treat them very well. It's kind of an interaction of sorts. At first, though, I was upset that she didn't have them tell Sam and Dean that Rowena is alive, and that Rowena was actually happy not to tell them. I was actually a little miffed about that. They're like, oh, they're going to be really worried. They're going to be, like, really upset that they didn't tell, and don't guilt trip them, because they have every right to be angry. And then episode 1 of season 13 came out, and now I'm like, you know what? You don't deserve to know after the way that you just didn't have her in the show. I'm not mad at Sam and Dean or anything. I'm a little mad at Sam and Dean. Like, really? You didn't mention her at all? So now reading it again, I'm like, yeah, you know what? We're just going to keep this a secret from you. So my perspective on that has changed, but I'm not really a fan of Sam and Dean kind of being treated as if they're only there to want something. However, later, Mariana does a spot-on job with these characters, and I will be giving credit to her helper in that situation when Sam and Dean are introduced and when a particular scene is brought in, but that is in later chapters. For now, as I focus on 1 through 3, I'll just be focusing on Mariana's writing. The portrayal of what Rowena went through is so brutal and so beautifully written. I mean, you really feel her pain to a point where you start to have your own just like PTSD. And as someone who actually was diagnosed with it after a traumatic experience, she is spot on with that. And I know she gave credit to this person whose name I will mention in later chapters. It's absolutely amazing how she writes Rowena. She just writes her as vulnerable yet tough. I mean, she's really got her down. And I especially love how the reactions that Rowena has really is how a rape victim feels. Sadly, I know too many people who are rape victims, men and women. And one of the reactions I have noticed with them at first is that they feel like if they were in a relationship, they have betrayed their spouse or lover. And that is how Rowena feels. She feels like because her body was violated, she has betrayed her because she slept with someone else. She feels like she has done something, and she is so terrified that her reader is going to leave her for being with someone else, which is just so real. That is very real of how people feel when they endure something like this. And that's just really, really well written. Another thing is their relationship's really cute. This is not just a run-of-the-mill, like, this is how I would be, I would pamper you, I would do this, I would do that. The reader will fight with Rowena. The reader will comfort Rowena. The reader will ask questions and just want to help in some way without being a Mary Sue. And I love that, because some readers tend to be Mary Sues, which, well, duh, that's what a Mary Sue is, putting yourself into the story. This reader doesn't feel that way. She just feels real, and I think that is so amazing. The recovery session is very interesting. The dreams, the night terrors that Rowena has as we slowly unfold the story. It doesn't just have this long monologue of exactly what happened. The story of how she survived and what was done to her are slowly unfolded in flashbacks throughout each chapter. So you're really interested. You're like, okay, what happened? You know, how did this happen? How did she survive? I love that. I think another really good reaction of the chapters is when Rowena is walking home and she has glass in her foot and she's just walking and limping because of the glass. That is so painful. I've had that happen. So that reaction's so real. It's just like, oh, you poor thing. Like, she was just struggling to get away. She just had to quickly get some clothes on and just like get away as fast as she could. And she was just in such a rush. She was the adrenaline, and then suddenly realizing the pain she was enduring. She is in a lot of pain. This isn't necessarily comical. There are some cute moments, and some moments will come in chapters 4 through 6 that I will be reviewing. Actually, 4 through 7, because we're at 7. But it is so real. It's so beautifully written about someone recovering, and so the first 3 chapters, they're a little hard to get through. They are, but they're worth it, because not because they're not good, but because they're so real that it's like, oh, you feel so bad for them and you can't wait for them to get better. And that just is wonderful. I cried at the end of chapter 3 because I have been there. Not to the extent Rowena did, not to the extent most victims have been to, but I have been afraid. I have been afraid, and I have had dreams, and I know that soldiers have come back from war and have accidentally hit their spouse because they were fighting and the spouse tried to wake them and they accidentally hit them. That happens. That's not abuse. That's PTSD. That's just brutality and fear. And it's not because they are violent people. It's because they have been through a violent situation and they're just trying to fight back. And in the dream world, you have no idea what's going on outside of it. And that was just so good. Another thing, the characters are very in character. Even Sam's little brief moment on the phone with the reader, it's like him. It's very much like him. Rowena is exactly like her. Lucifer is very well written. Mariana does a great job with Lucifer. I don't know if I've ever told her this, but Mariana's best character that she writes is Lucifer. She really has him pat down. She makes him funny. She makes him mean. She makes him scary. She's just got it with him. She just really knows how to write him. And I feel like she writes Dean really well too. And I know she gets advice with Dean, but man, Dean is just top notch. I'm very excited to tell you guys more about chapters 4 through 7. Check it out. The link is below. You can start just reading the story, see what you think. Love you guys. Bye.